What's up, everyone? Today we're looking at Golden City, but we're looking past the enforced settlements and the factory lines. We're looking at the Matryoshka doll, the Russian nesting doll. On the outside, it's a symbol of a mother containing her family. It's a nest, but for a nest to be safe, it needs a foundation. In psychology, we call this the nursing triad. As psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott once said, as a mother holds her baby, there needs to be someone holding the mother. But what happens to the South African mother when the holder drops the ball? The Russian Matryoshka doll is a beautiful representation of the multifaceted nature of motherhood. Just as each doll is contained within another, a child is initially nested in their mother's care, receiving warmth, comfort, and nurture. Historically, these dolls symbolize the mother as the heart of the home, the outermost figure who contains and protects the essence of the family. Enter Nonceba. She's trying to be the perfect nest for her baby Ubongani, but the nursing triad in her home has suffered a catastrophic collapse. Her husband Uduma is supposed to be the holder of the holder. He is meant to be the psychological shield that allows Nonceba to stay soft and nurturing. Instead, Duma's ego, bruised by systemic shadow of unemployment, becomes a destructive force. When he rejects the neighbor's water and the clinic's help for their sick baby Ubongani, he isn't just being stubborn, he is actively dismantling the outer layer of the Matryoshka. He is leaving Nonceba to mother single-handedly in a world that is actively hostile to her. In Golden City, the death of a child isn't just a medical failure, it's an environmental failure. The nest didn't just break, it was sabotaged from the outside in. When Duma's feelings of uselessness lead him to abandon the home, the betrayal becomes clinical. Nonceba is left 3 weeks pregnant, newly unemployed, and mourning a child. In this vacuum, one shared by millions of South African mothers, the SASSA child grant enters the frame. We must view the grant as more than just an economic transfer. It is a psychological proxy. When the human holder, which is the father, vanishes, the state attempts to become the outermost Matryoshka shell. However, this is a cold holding environment. While the grant provides a literal skin of survival, such as basic food, it cannot provide the emotional warmth required to heal a collapsed nest. It is a bureaucratic substitute for a missing protector, a functional shield that keeps the family from total dissolution, but it leaves the mother's internal resources completely running dry. According to the nesting theory, this is where a mother should break. Without a holder, her internal resources for a new life run dry. But Nonceba does something radical. She practices community holding. When she picks up her neighbor's sick baby and walks to the clinic, she's rebuilding the Matryoshka with new materials. She realizes that if the traditional triad, husband, wife, child, is dead, then the social triad must take its place. The neighbor, the porter at the clinic, and her colleague Utlage become the new outer dolls. This brings us to the most powerful psychological shift in her story, the play. Psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott argued that the highest form of health is the ability to play. When you're in survival mode, living in a shack, mourning a child, and fearing a husband, you are stuck in a false self. You're just a machine built to endure. By turning her grief into a theatrical outreach play, Nonceba is doing more than just teaching health. She is externalizing the trauma. She is taking the internal doll of her pain and placing it inside a bigger, more meaningful doll, social advocacy. She is no longer a victim of a story that broke her. Instead, she is the architect of a story that saves others. She is the architect of a new community, a third, a shared space where the truth can finally be told. The literal Matryoshka here is that Nonceba is bearing one child while carrying another. This is a doll within a doll at its most fragile. If she stayed in isolation, that internal nest would have been collapsed. But by the time her second child arrives, her triad is no longer anchored by one unreliable man. Instead, it is anchored by the Masakane clinic, Ali and Tlake. She has replaced a hollow triad with a resilient network. Nonceba reminds us that in our communities, the nest isn't always a private house with a white picket fence. Sometimes the nest is a dirt road and the holders are the colleagues and neighbors who refuse to let a mother stand alone. If you are a mother standing without a holder today, look at your community. Your strength isn't in doing it alone. It's in finding the outer layers that will hold you while you hold the future. Nonceba's play is not just a performance, it is a reclamation of her power. She is no longer just the woman who lost her child, she has become the mother of the community, creating a legacy of life out of tragedy of death. We honor the Noncebas of the world, the mothers who turn their scars into maps for others to follow. You are the holders who keep the world from falling apart, even when there is no one behind you to hold you up. Your dedication is the ultimate flex of human strength. Let me know in the comment section who are the holders in your community, and I will see you next time on the next deep dive.